In the outer reaches of an uncharted galaxy, a coalition of alien warriors known as the Varnok assembled their fleet around a planet infamous across star systems. This world was called Kelthar 7, or more commonly referred to as the Death World. Its reputation was earned through centuries of failed invasions and mysterious disappearances. The atmosphere was toxic to most species, its wildlife monstrous and aggressive, and its terrain constantly shifting due to seismic instability. Yet what truly made it legendary were the rumors about its inhabitants, beings who had adapted so perfectly to their harsh environment that they seemed almost immortal. Commander Thalrix stood at the helm of his flagship, staring out at the swirling green clouds obscuring the surface below. His people had come seeking conquest, believing themselves superior in technology and strategy. They were wrong. Every previous attempt by other civilizations to claim Kelthar 7 ended in ruin. But this time, the Varnok believed they would succeed where others had failed. Their weapons were advanced, their soldiers fearless, or so they thought. As the first wave of dropships descended into the poisonous haze, the warriors braced for battle. What awaited them on the ground defied every expectation. The native beings, tall and sinewy with skin like molten metal, moved with unnatural speed and precision. Their eyes glowed faintly, scanning the invaders with cold indifference. These creatures did not speak. Instead, they communicated through low-frequency vibrations that rattled the very bones of those nearby. The initial skirmish was brutal but brief. The Varnok's energy rifles cut down several of the natives, but reinforcements arrived faster than anticipated. Each fallen warrior seemed to summon two more from the shadows. Within minutes, the battlefield was littered with smoking craters and shattered armor. Commander Thalrix ordered a retreat, but even then, the enemy pursued relentlessly, forcing the survivors back toward their extraction point. It wasn't until the second day of combat that something changed. The Varnok forces stumbled upon a settlement hidden within a jagged canyon. Unlike anything they had encountered before, the structures appeared organic, growing directly out of the rock itself. Inside, they found no signs of hostility, only rows of tables laden with food, or at least what passed for food among these enigmatic beings. One soldier hesitated, reaching out to touch a steaming bowl filled with writhing tendrils of some unknown substance. Before he could react, another warrior knocked his hand away, shouting warnings about contamination. But curiosity overtook fear, and soon the entire squad gathered around the feast. Some recoiled in disgust, while others leaned closer, trying to make sense of the bizarre offerings. A thick stew bubbled in one massive cauldron, emitting vapors that smelled both sweet and acrid. Next to it sat piles of raw meat, still twitching slightly as if freshly harvested. Brightly colored fruits oozed viscous fluids onto the stone floor, leaving trails that shimmered under the dim light. And there, in the center of the table, lay the most horrifying dish of all, a cluster of pulsating organs suspended in gelatinous liquid, each one beating rhythmically like tiny hearts. The Varnok froze, their collective breath hitching in shock. Even the bravest among them felt a chill run down their spines. For all their training and resolve, nothing could have prepared them for this sight. To the warriors of countless galaxies, food was sustenance, a means to survive and thrive. But here, on Kelthar 7, it was something else entirely, something primal, something sacred. Their hesitation gave the natives time to approach silently. Emerging from the shadows, the metallic-skinned beings watched intently, their glowing eyes reflecting amusement rather than malice. One stepped forward, extending a clawed hand toward the pulsating organs. Without hesitation, it plucked one from the gelatinous pool and lifted it high above its head. Then, slowly, deliberately, it brought the organ to its mouth and consumed it whole. The Varnok stared in stunned silence. Never had they witnessed such an act performed without ceremony or caution. It was as though the action carried no significance beyond mere consumption. But the implications were staggering. If these beings considered such grotesque fare basic nourishment, what did that say about their physiology, their resilience, their very nature? Commander Thalrix ordered his men to withdraw immediately. Back aboard the flagship, he convened an emergency council. Holographic projections flickered to life, displaying images captured during the encounter. Scientists pored over data, attempting to analyze the chemical composition of the foodstuffs. Meanwhile, strategists debated whether continuing the invasion was worth the risk. Opinions varied wildly. Some argued that understanding the natives' diet might provide insight into their biology, offering a potential advantage in future engagements. Others insisted that any further attempts to conquer Kelthar 7 were futile, given the clear disparity between the two cultures. How could they hope to subjugate a race whose concept of sustenance bordered on incomprehensible? Days turned into weeks as the debate raged on. In the meantime, reconnaissance drones scouted the planet's surface, gathering intelligence on the settlements and their inhabitants. Reports confirmed that the strange banquet was not an isolated incident. Similar displays of culinary horror were found throughout the region, suggesting that the practice was widespread, if not universal, among the native population. Finally, after much deliberation, Commander Thalrix reached a decision. He transmitted a message to the rest of the fleet, ordering a full withdrawal from Kelthar 7. The cost of continued conflict outweighed any conceivable benefit. Besides, there was no guarantee that the Varno could ever adapt to the conditions necessary to survive on such a hostile world. As the ships departed, leaving behind the swirling green clouds and jagged peaks of the Death World, many of the warriors reflected on what they had seen. Some harbored resentment, feeling humbled by their failure. Others experienced relief, grateful to escape with their lives intact. All agreed on one thing, however. The image of those pulsating organs would haunt their dreams for years to come. Back home, tales of the expedition spread quickly. Tales of unimaginable horrors and indomitable foes became legend, whispered in awe by younger generations eager to prove themselves. Yet none dared return to Kelthar 7, not when memories of what the Death World considered basic food lingered fresh in their minds. And so, the planet remained untouched, its secrets guarded by its resilient inhabitants. Perhaps someday another civilization would rise to challenge them, armed with knowledge and courage enough to bridge the gap between worlds. Until then, Kelthar 7 stood as a testament to the limits of ambition and the boundless mysteries of the universe. Far away, deep within the labyrinthine canyons of the Death World, the natives carried on as always. Unaware of the impact they had left on interstellar history, they continued their rituals, sharing meals born of necessity and survival. To them, the fleeting presence of outsiders meant little. After all, life on Kelthar 7 demanded adaptation or extinction. And in the grand scheme of things, neither fate held much weight compared to the eternal cycle of existence.